Hello YouTube, my name is Kangiv and today I'm super excited to bring you a video where I asked 15 different streamers the exact same 2 questions about streaming. And it was really interesting to see the variety of answers people gave. If you want to see who all is in this video, it will be throughout, but there's also timestamps in the description below. Please enjoy. The first question is, what pushed you to start streaming in the first place? Does that thing still motivate you to some extent, or is there a different reason that you're still streaming to this day?
So I really grew up watching YouTubers, and I always dreamed that that could be me. And at the time, I would actually record my own videos, but never post them because I was a little afraid of being bullied at school or things like that back when I was, a young teen. And now being a content creator at this point is living out my childhood dream and just making young me proud.
I started back in February of 2021. This was my freshman year, and I'd spent most of that time locked inside because my school was online. I guess I just saw how much fun all these big creators had streaming, and becoming a CC was always a childhood dream of mine, so I just started, and I guess here I am. That's not my motivator now. When I started, it was like just a little over halfway through my freshman year, like I said. So I was a quiet kid, shy, kept to myself. I'm a couple months away from graduation, which is wild to me. I'm nowhere near the same person. Different mindset, different goals, different motivation.
Especially when you start things as a teenager, that's like, you're still growing so much as a person.
It's like a little over 14. Yeah. Oh my god. Sorry, the passage of time is weird. I don't like it.
It's okay, yeah, it is.
So I started streaming about 3.5 years ago, so middle of 2020. I have this friend called Danny, and he used to stream a lot in 2020, and I was like, maybe I should start streaming as well, because he also used to do like a lot of YouTube stuff and then just moved over to Twitch, and I was like, this seems cool, and then I started streaming. But I think now I'm just more motivated by the fact that like I still have like a lot of games that I'm still like in the middle of that I want to finish, and that I don't really have any reason to stop streaming. Like I still like love and enjoy streaming. I love interacting with like other streamers and like building like a community. Yeah, I'm on like that stream grind set right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice that you had a friend to sort of bring you into it in a way. Nice.
We used to stream quite a bit like together, like probably like once every like 2 weeks we used to stream Minecraft together, and then I'll do my own streams and I'll be like, oh yeah, I really enjoy doing my own stuff. And like I still stream with like other people every now and again, but most of the time I'm streaming like on my own, and I really enjoy it.
Streaming itself was mostly motivated by my friends, some of my old friends also streaming, and to do a lot more things that would be more difficult to like put into videos. I guess to a point that still motivates me, because like I do use streaming as an outlet to do long form content more than anything now. I guess my motivation to streaming is friends, but in different ways, as well as kind of archival aspect to it. Because I also save my VODs, and so it's nice to stream something so that I have my reaction to something fun saved.
Yeah.
That's part of my motivation now.
Before anything else, I am an artist. I've always been doing art on the internet and everything. So before I started streaming, I using Twitter as like for art. I'd post a lot of my art and everything. So I started seeing a couple of artists I knew start going into VTubing, start streaming, and I was like, that sounds like fun, because like when I was younger, when I was high school, I streamed art a bit and I realized I missed it. So I started gravitating more towards VTubing, saw some of my friends start VTubing. I just kind of went along with it for a bit. Yeah, because I started streaming after taking a break from college. I went to college to learn how to make comics, basically, because I wanted to make young adult novels. I wanted to make like comics for kids and everything. But I had really bad college burnout because going to school for art is hard, especially when you have like a couple of art classes and they are all demanding you do big art projects at the very end. So that was a huge burnout. I struggled so hard to be able to make art for myself, and I would draw one line and I'd hate it. Like it was so bad. I decided I would do streaming as a hobby, especially VTubing. With VTubing, it's like when you're an artist, you can be able to make your own stuff, right? So you're able to draw a lot of your own things, like your own overlays or your own model, or like literally anything for your streaming and stuff. So it kind of opened the gates for me to be able to kind of slowly make art for myself again. And I love the place I'm at right now with like streaming. It's made me fall in love with art again, especially my own art. I used to hate my art after college, and now I'm starting to love my art again, and I'm loving the projects I'm able to be working on, and it's exciting, it's really exciting.
Well, when I first started, it was because I was trying to get back into it because I used to do a lot of YouTube when I was younger, and it worked into streaming because that was what was the most motivating at the time. Weirdly enough, I am now becoming more of a YouTuber than a streamer, but I still do both.
So it sort of circled around. You ended up going back to YouTube.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to entertain people, mostly. That's been the biggest motivator of all throughout my years of being a content creator. And I still stick by that, and probably will stick by it no matter what.
Oh, that's a fun question. Considering I started Twitch specifically in like early 2021, but before that, did YouTube streams back in 2017. I have to like actually think back as to why I wanted to start. I think it was honestly because I watched so much YouTube and saw people like Tommy in it, Dan TDM, Linus Tech Tips, stuff like that. People making content, making Twitch streams, YouTube streams, whatever you want to call it, captivating an audience to inspire and have someone to look up towards. That is what I try to do. And I would say that it's still what I try to do, but now I also know it's a good way to make friends and be the way you want to be better than you can sometimes IRL.
When I first started streaming, it was during the height of the pandemic, and I was just really, really bored and had nothing else to do. And I was watching Twitch a lot, and it just kind of felt like starting streaming. I actually started on YouTube first, but yeah, so I started during the pandemic because I was just really bored and I had nothing else to do. And that was October of 2020. And I've been kind of streaming on and off since. I have kind of an interesting perspective because I'm like half retired now. I stream maybe 2 to 3 times a month, so definitely nothing super consistent. And obviously, COVID doesn't really motivate me to stream anymore because there's no COVID. Well, there is, but we're not in quarantine anymore. I don't really watch Twitch a lot anymore, so that part also doesn't motivate me. I would say more now. I stream like when I play events and stuff, because I play a lot of events and I host events and stuff like that. So that's mainly the reason I stream. I stream when I have something to stream. I don't really seek something out to stream most of the time. So at this point, I just kind of stream for fun. I guess the core reason of being bored still kind of applies.
I started streaming around the end of 2020, 2021. And it was around that time where like Minecraft was really big and everything was going on. All these people were getting big. So initially when I started streaming, I was like, man, I'm going to be famous. I'm going to make all sorts of money. I'm going to play games. That does not motivate me anymore. After the end of 2021, I was like, I don't actually want that. It actually kind of scares me, if I'm going to be honest. I realized that I really enjoyed like hanging out with people, just talking while I'm playing. So now whenever I do stream, it's mostly just like chill. I'm streaming for myself, just kind of like playing games and having fun and just talking with people.
Okay, so definitely changed a little bit when you had some realizations about how streaming works.
Yeah, well, it was during the time where it was like, because COVID had hit, and when we all went on lockdown, we all went online. And because of this idea that you could like hop online and play video games and stream and make a heck of a lot of money. I remember that's what got me into content creation in the first place.
I started streaming just as lockdown hit because I was bored And because my body's quite broken, I couldn't really do any sports or anything. Like, they'd be like, you can go out for an hour walk, and I couldn't do that because of my bones. So I got really bored. My brother was like, hey, there's this thing called Twitch. I know this YouTuber who streams on it, and you should too. And so I started. But I think I still do it for the same reason. It was more like, it's something I can do that doesn't put my body in too much pain. And I enjoy being able to help people. I've been told I do that a lot. And that still motivates me. Like when people come to my streams and they're like, your stream really helped me. I'm like, damn, I'm doing a good job. I just started physio again. I was going through all the testing still to figure out what's going on. And I was just like, damn, I'm so bored, because they were like, you can't do this, you can't do this. And I was like, what can I do? I can play on my PC and I can play Minecraft. Might as well share this with multiple people. And I got to educate people on like life with chronic pain and all of this.
I have a lot of like old friends that were in the like Dream SMP fandom. I never followed it because I joined in right after it like ended, and I was like, oh, this is cool. So I started like looking up different like streamers, and it was the streamer Tubbo that actually was one of the reasons why I started streaming. Tubbo was the reason I got into streaming. It did change because now I'm just like, oh my gosh, the people I've met through streaming have been utterly amazing. This is very fun. This is good for my personality because I'm very outgoing. So streaming came like very natural to me.
So I actually started streaming because I watch streamers. I have been watching different like YouTubers and streamers since I was really little. And I think I kind of always admired what they do, and I thought it was really cool. And so I wanted to do it by myself, which is why I started. But I think that's kind of changed in a way because I still like look up to these people, but a large part of it is that these people like helped me through things, and over time it turned away from wanting to be like them and to more so wanting to do what they do. Still motivated by wanting to help people and wanting to reach out to people and make people's day better. It's still definitely there to some extent, but it's shifted.
I started streaming more so because my mom had got a new boyfriend, and he was like, you know what, you'd be really good if you streamed. I was just like, I've been wanting to do it, but I didn't think I'd be good at it, and that gave me a little motivation. She's not with him anymore, so not really as much motivation from that, but I think the thing that still motivates me is mostly my friends. For example, Matt, or known as like Psycho, and Danny Milksoft's Tiny Gaming, and then my best friend, Hannah. Genuinely, those 4 people have shown me how much I matter to other people, because I've never been told how good I am until then. And it's brought up my self-confidence since I met them. So I wanted to tell you how amazing those people are.
I started streaming way back when livestream.com was a thing when I was like a child. And so I would just play video games with and for my friends, and sometimes I would stream art, but you know, I was streaming on like a really crappy computer. Not that that has changed, but I really just wanted to stream for my friends. I stopped streaming for a while, and then I started streaming again because I had always, you know, enjoyed that. I'd always enjoyed just hanging out with people and making people laugh. My God, that was like 5 or 6 years ago now or something like that. It was again for the same reason, because a lot of the people that I played with were streamers or content creators and stuff like that. And then more and more people kept joining. And then I got really sick and I had to stop streaming for a while. And then I was like, you know what? Why don't I become a VTuber? So I did. And again, I just really like hanging out with people. The more people that show up to chat, it gets kind of like, it's getting a little scary. I'm like, oh, there's like more people in here that aren't just, you know, people I'm friends with. But I still think that very baseline of like, I want to make people laugh, does still motivate me to click start streaming.
And the second question is, what are the best and worst parts of streaming that no one talks about? The sort of things you think to yourself but don't really say out loud.
So I would definitely say the best part of streaming is all the amazing people you get to meet and all the friends I've made along the way. It's just so nice, and to meet people online who have the same passions and dreams as you when, in real life, you're just meeting people who live near you or people who go to the same school as you and they might not share the same passions as you do. But I would definitely say the worst part of streaming is the hate, especially towards female streamers. And I mean, things have changed a lot in the last 10 years, and I am very grateful to be a part of the Minecraft community where there are a lot of really wonderful female creators, but I do still definitely face negative comments every day about being a woman in the gaming sphere. And at this point, it's become somewhat of a joke in my stream, and I do like to laugh about it and try to uplift and inspire other women to get into streaming and gaming, but it is definitely still a hard thing to deal with.
But meeting people is great. Meeting the good people is great, and meeting the bad people is awful.
That's true. I mean, sometimes, haters are still your biggest supporters.
Oh, absolutely. Every single one of those bad comments just boosts it.
Oh yeah, I love it. I used to make collages of my hate comments. It's hilarious. I think they're good. I just hate when they're so unoriginal. Like, I get a lot of it just says woman. It's like, come on, think of something a little better, right?
It's wonderful that there are people like you who are able to sort of laugh that off and just keep going for people who are going to watch you and go, oh, I could do that too. Especially for little you. Younger you.
Yeah, for
couldn't
little
do
me
that.
who was like, oh, you can never do it, but now we're there, we're doing it.
The best and worst parts of streaming. I'm gonna say both is honestly the people. There's a lot of two-faced creators in this space. People who seem like kind and amazing and just phenomenal people on screen and on stream, and then behind the scenes they're complete opposites, or even worse, like rude, mean, kind of like asshole-ish, and then just straight up like disgusting, awful people like we've been seeing recently. So like, I'm gonna say, as viewers, you don't know what people are like after stream, before stream, just when they're not streaming, when they're not on camera. You're never gonna know who they actually are. But on the flip side of that is there are people who are genuinely who they are like on stream, or even nicer. That's definitely my favorite part, is getting to know so many of these incredible creators. Some of them I'm proud to call friends, some of them I'm proud to call family. Like, can I shout somebody out?
Absolutely.
Like, somebody I consider a sister, Cersei Lives. Absolutely just incredible. They're the best part, and I love meeting new people that I could potentially call friends, but I always have to keep an eye out for like the nasty two-faced people.
I like that your sort of best and worst were the same thing, because you cannot control the people that you meet, the people that also choose to stream.
Another worst point that I just thought about when you were bringing that up is creator spaces for non-Western creators, people in Asia and Australia. I have a friend who streams out of Thailand, and she has to be up at ungodly hours for most like content groups.
Yes. Something that's difficult as a small streamer, because if you're a full-time streamer, you can just sit there and stream for 10 hours and catch so many time zones.
You can set your stream whenever you want.
Exactly. But with people who are in school, who have 9-to-5 jobs, any place that there's not as many creators, the creators that are there lose a lot of opportunities because of time zones.
This is something that I learned in business class, is opportunity cost. Nothing is free. There's no free choice where you get every benefit and nothing to sacrifice for it. You can either sacrifice your sleep or you can sacrifice the opportunity for this event.
Yeah, I would definitely love to see more events that are hosted by people not in the West.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking that.
Hey, I'll wake up at 1 a.m. for your event because you always do that for mine.
For you, streamer that's not in the West, you got it.
Exactly.
I think a lot of people emphasize like the community between the streamer and like the audience and like the viewers. But I think there's also a great community of just streamers, even if you just are like in a small streamer Discord and you don't really mention it. I love just like hanging out maybe in like a VC one night, or like hanging out with like a few friends I've made over the years, because it's just fun. I met one of my streamer friends like back in 2022, and recently we've just been in a VC in her Discord, just like playing Stardew Valley. If I hadn't joined one of those like initial the like first small streamer Discord I did join, I would have never met her, and I wouldn't have played Stardew Valley otherwise.
I can definitely see that. You're right. When people talk about a streamer community, your brain goes to, oh, the viewers for this streamer. But it's the whole sort of takes a village thing.
Yeah, definitely. I can think of one of the worst things that comes to my head, and it's just like the more tech stuff, like all the audio sources you have to sort out in OBS, because I recently switched over from Twitch Studio to OBS. Studio was just breaking on me like all the time, and so I switched over to OBS. I just had to figure all that out, and I was just like, I mean, I could have looked up a tutorial, and I did look up a few, but it is like quite hard to like try and learn a new software. Another thing that I just thought of actually, I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it, because a lot of Twitch streamers are like American, but I'm from England, and we have to deal with like UK taxes as well. It's gonna be like such a pain when I have to start like actually registering my taxes and registering my income from Twitch. I mean, there are like British like YouTubers I could look to see, like look at like their videos or whatever to see how they set it up, because it's definitely a similar field, but there's no like barely anything on like British Twitch streamers.
Yeah, it's all American.
Yeah, it's all American stuff. Because I've already filled out the like tax forms for like when you become an affiliate, which is something I actually didn't know about for when you become affiliate. I thought it was just like, oh, you send out an email with like your Twitch channel and your like bank details or whatever, like your PayPal details, and that would be it. I just didn't know anything about like the tax side of stuff, honestly.
Yeah, you have to fill out a long form.
Yeah.
Your firstborn and your soul.
Yeah, literally.
The whole thing.
One of the worst parts is probably like finding people to support you. I don't see a whole lot of people like talking about the struggle to find moderators, artists, etc., because those are the things that I find important, but they're things that aren't exactly easy to find per se.
Yeah, definitely when you're still smaller, those are difficult.
Yeah, and even if you're like big or anything, with the artist aspect, figuring out who to commission, regardless of your size, is gonna be an issue. There's a lot that goes into it. As for the best part, I kind of want to say the archival aspect again. That's one of my main reasons for streaming right now, because I don't have a big following or anything. Being a small streamer especially is great when you like talking to chat. Because if you're bigger, chat's just zooming by. But as a small streamer, you've got like just a few people and you can like directly have one-on-one conversations with chat. And as a big streamer, chat is more of an entity than it is people. The people that you really notice are the ones that do special things when you're a big streamer, like donating. Moderators you'll notice because they're moderators.
Yeah.
For me, the best and worst part of streaming is being a BIPOC VTuber, you know, like, or streamer in general. You know, the worst part of it is that you see a lot of streamers that are kind of avoidant to being political, you know, or avoidant of talking about important topics that come up in everyday life, or are negligent to call out somebody in like their community for having really bad views, or at least having that opportunity to talk and educate. You know, it's hard to see a lot of your peers be silent on issues because, you know, as like someone who's indigenous, you know, and tries to uplift a lot of other BIPOC voices, it's hard. It's hard to see that from other people, especially people that streamers that you look up to, because for us, it's hard not to be political. You know, it feels like, you know, just our daily lives is political every day, trying to fight for all these things while seeing some of the people that you look up to, especially like more popular streamers or ones that could make a huge impact, not say anything. One of the biggest things and issues for me with VTubing is that a lot of the community is not ready to talk about those issues. And once you have a creator who is ready to talk about it, you have a lot of backlash. There's no wrong way or wrong time to talk about these things, because at the end of the day, you know, behind a lot of these streamers, behind all these VTubers, we're all just people. We're all in the same communities. It shouldn't be too hard to ask for a little bit more. And then you have the best part of it too. Like, it's so awesome to see so many like other like POC creators. It's so awesome. I've been able to meet so many wonderful indigenous people, especially UCAN. It's awesome to
Yeah,
just,
I
like,
super appreciate the Indigenous VTubers Discord a lot. It's like very important.
Gosh. It is. When I first started streaming, I really thought that I'd probably be alone. I've met like a couple of indigenous people here and there on the internet, you know, but I've never gotten too close to a lot of those people. So when I decided to try out streaming, and especially being a VTuber, I was like, oh no, I'm gonna be so lonely in this, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna meet too many people that are gonna be like similar to me, you know, like being indigenous. Once I met some VTubers who were using the hashtag native VTuber, I was like, what? Like, and I was like so excited, you know? And so I was looking at these like profiles and I was like, wait, they're indigenous just like me, and they're VTubing. Being able to like follow all these wonderful creators, and then through following them I got to meet even more. There's so many of us. You just have to find us, you know? Like,
Yeah, definitely.
and I'm so proud of like being indigenous, being Navajo. So I try to talk about it as much as I can whenever an opportunity comes up. You know, I don't have too much of a reach right now, but I would hope like as I continue going and streaming, I'm able to have that reach for people to see like, whoa, that's an indigenous person who's VTubing and streaming, you know, like and doing all that stuff. Like, that's awesome. There's more of us out there, you know. Being able to showcase more of like my people, you know, it's awesome. Last November for Native American and Heritage Month, I spent one stream talking about like my people, the Navajo people, introduce all these things to all these new people. I think that's what's so amazing about being an indigenous streamer. You know, it's so important for everyone to see that representation in any avenue.
It's the way you don't really know what to expect of your community and how they react to certain things you do, certain things you stream. I used to stream with a different username before, and the reactions I had weren't the same as the one I currently have. So it's hard to gauge your audience and what they expect of you.
Community doesn't always change at the same speed you are changing.
Exactly. One of the best part has to be the support, all the love we get, all the ideas we get. Like, some of my best streams have been pushed forward by the community, and I love them for it, because without them, like, what are we?
Yes.
I recently had my my debut for my Life 2D model. Like, I had planned like months in advance how it would go. It went perfectly, and Chad we were all chatting, and Chad was like, hey, next cooking stream, what are we doing? And someone was like, pizza. And I was like, all right, what are we doing? What kind of pizza? And then we just divulged into making like the worst pizza. And that's probably what we're going to do for the next cooking stream. It's just going to be the worst pizza possible.
So you said the best and the worst parts were related to the people. Do you think it's a pretty fine line between finding a community that is interactive and awesome like that versus people who aren't willing to keep up with the changes you make?
That's wholly dependent on what you make of it. Right now I'm trying to refine my way with my new models, stream more, make weekly uploads, and all of those together, like, it's just finding the balance, and that takes time.
Definitely, yeah. You can't decide how people are going to be. They just sort of show up because it's online, and you just have to hope.
Absolutely, because if you make boundaries clear, if you tell chat like, hey, I don't want you doing those things, or hey, these are the things that are not permitted on my stream. Like, I have laugh at me on my tags for streaming because I don't care. It's fun if like I do something silly or I act dumb, like laugh at me. It's fine because I can take it. But if you like come into my chat and you're like doing that to someone else, I'm like, no, that's not okay. Like, these are the rules. Like, make fun of the streamer, yes. Make fun of the friends, no. I think that helped a lot because it's a funny way of just saying like do what you want with me, but don't touch the others.
That I have to say, it's got to be two sides of the same coin.
Okay.
It's the people that you meet along the way. Like, you can meet great people and you can meet terrible people. My experience, I've met some of the greatest people. I've met a lot of my current friends through content creation, but then there's also the other side of the coin where you meet some really bad people. I wasn't going to like really do any content creation on Twitter, but when I downloaded it, a creator which like sort of inspired me to work on Twitter turned out to be a bad person.
Yeah.
So, that's a bad part of the people you meet. Sometimes your inspirations are bad people.
Very difficult with content creation because you never know who they are behind the camera, behind the stream.
Yeah, they could just put on a mask, put on persona of whatever they want. I've known dozens of creators in my journey of content creation, and I've only known like 4 or 5 bad creators. I mean, in my case, I didn't really like talk a lot with the person who turned out to be bad. I talked to them only like twice. I was given only one piece of advice, which is kind of like common, being just don't listen to the hate.
Yeah.
So that you gotta listen to that one.
A lot of it's gonna be struggling with motivation for me, especially when it comes to low viewer counts. Like, I have been streaming Twitch for 3 years, YouTube for longer, and my average is like half a viewer, legit half a person watches my stream. And it's very demotivating, and it hits a lot of my mental health, trying to stream consistently. But when no one's there, no one's showing any support, you start to kind of think, why should I continue if no one wants to watch or anything like that? You gotta kind of, now obviously I'm not one to talk because I haven't gotten past this yet, but at some point you gotta kind of get past that to keep going. But it's a hard struggle. That's probably one of the hardest things when it comes to streaming. That and figuring out who you can trust. I have been unwillingly a part of many a controversy because of people I've known. To me, I mean, if you're talking about for me specifically, I don't talk about it much, but the few viewers that I do have, I really like. I don't want to use the term love because I don't want to make it seem parasocial, because it's not. It's like I appreciate the fact that they're taking time out of their day, and it warms my heart to see people actually take some form of interest,
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, just having a fan base, even if it is small, is very rewarding.
So I started on YouTube because it was convenient and I knew how to do it. But I also had kind of a built-up channel at that point. Had like 250 subscribers, but I figured instead of starting brand new, I would just stream on there. And it worked for a little bit, and then I decided that I wanted to switch because I like the ecosystem more. Surprisingly, the discoverability is better on Twitch, that I found at least, which is funny because YouTube's should be good for that, but
YouTube is really bad at pushing live streams.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way. But yeah, I had some people ask me to switch to Twitch, and it actually ended up being easier than YouTube because, I mean, Twitch is really simple. So for one of the best things, no one really says this, but I mean, I would be lying if I said that like money isn't, a good thing about streaming. Obviously, like even I don't stream for the money, but it is, obviously a really nice thing. It's like, an extra bonus. Hey, I can pay for gas. Let's go. I feel like no one's shy to talk about the good things, but it's like the bad stuff that no one wants to talk about. Yeah, I don't know. Money is definitely a good thing that I guess people don't talk about because it's not the focus, but it's a nice thing on the side. And then for the worst parts of streaming, I would say specifically for the Minecraft community, the drama, and no one talks about it because then it just causes more drama for them sometimes. If you're already in drama and you bring it up, I haven't noticed it as much in other streaming communities. Obviously, it still happens, even like with super popular streamers. drama still happens, but I would say the small Minecraft creator sphere has a lot of drama.
Because it's one of the few communities that not only has millions of people in it, it has such a wide age range compared to a lot of other games.
A lot of us are used to be theater kids. I mean, drama's in the name, like, you know.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sure that.
fair.
But also, you're right. I mean, the fact that, you know, there's 13-year-olds streaming Minecraft, you know, also there's like 30-year-olds streaming Minecraft. I mean, the 30-year-olds don't really get a drama as much. It's mainly the 13, 14-year-olds. Not saying all of them do, obviously, but I mean, most of the drama is from like minors. Like I said, I was on the internet since I was 13, really. Since I was like legally able to get like a Discord and whatever. I'm not saying I had one before then, for the record. But I've been on the internet since I was 13, basically. Like, I was in some drama too. It was definitely like pointless and like all of that. But 4 years later, I'm just kind of tired of it now. That's why I don't really interact with the Minecraft community as much or like stream a ton anymore. Probably the worst part of at least streaming in the Minecraft community that people don't really talk about, because if you talk about it, you're either adding to it or like proving yourself guilty, I guess, if someone's like trying to cancel you or whatever. Back to the money thing. That's another reason I switched to Twitch, is because I could make money so much faster. Because when I was 13, you know, that probably was a pretty big factor. But I do remember seeing, oh, I only need 50 followers on Twitch versus what is it, 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time or something crazy on YouTube.
Yeah.
I feel like finding a balance between having an online presence and then a presence in your actual life it's very difficult, because you have to like figure out where you're going to sacrifice your time online and where you're going to sacrifice your time in person. I would say that's both like the worst part of streaming as well as the best part, because I'm with my family still, but if I just didn't completely like focus on my like in real life, if that makes sense,
Yes.
then I would be sacrificing the other things that I'm doing, such as my college or like hanging out with my family, and then that puts pressure on the relationships that I have with the people that I speak to in person, while also boosting the relationship that I have with people online. So like it creates this concept where you're like struggling to find this balance where they both work out, but sometimes you do have to lean towards one or the other. It really makes you think about like, what do you want from both things?
Absolutely, yeah. Finding a balance is a tough thing when you're sort of, I want both. It's a Hannah Montana situation.
And then there's also the thing where like being online, I feel like just tanks like your mental health. Like for example, if I spend like my spring break or something and I'm online pretty much the whole week, I don't want to leave my room. The idea of going outside like is no. I don't want to go outside. Whereas if I'm not online or I like go outside more, I'm happier. I have more motivation to do things. I'm taking care of myself, paying attention to other people, that sort of thing. It's like a toxic relationship almost. It's almost like I kind of want to call it like an addiction, if that makes sense. One of those stressful parts about streaming that I feel like isn't really talked about.
I don't think people talk enough about the fact that a lot of people make friends through streaming and playing online games. I wouldn't have made half of my friends if it wasn't for the fact I started streaming.
Some people still have the don't talk to strangers on the internet mindset. They don't necessarily want to say, hey, my best friends are strangers on the internet.
I think that's why I stuck with the whole, like, I tell people most things about me, but I'll never put my name on the internet. Some strangers on the internet are weird people.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like everything that's like the worst part gets commonly spoke about. But I think the worst part, especially as a small streamer, is just like the hate you get. Like I feel like I've got a lot of hate just because I'm a small LGBT streamer. Like I get a lot of comments about that. I've had comments with my accent and like the way I look, and it's like they wouldn't say that to me in real life, but I feel like over the internet people are just mean.
Yeah, the hiding behind a screen.
Yeah, they hide behind it. But I feel like the worst part about it is like there is not much you can do bar block them. Like that's always gonna happen. And it's more common to happen to feminine presenting streamers. I've had conversations with people and hearing some of the stuff that they've had in their chats. And like even if you go in a big streamer's chat, you see it all the time. And it's just like, how can you put that in someone's chat and act completely like as if that's not a big deal? I don't have a very active chat when I'm on Twitch, and I remember like especially when I first started, I had some horrible people come in and those were the only messages being put in my chat. I ended up getting quite a few mods to come and help because I was like, this is getting ridiculous. I think I had at one point I had the most mods with the least amount of followers.
I've had a lot of people I've interviewed have talked about sort of it being a two-sided coin because the people are the best and the people are the worst.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I've met some amazing people through streaming, but then sometimes it's like there are some awful people out there who do nothing but try and bring you down. Like, Twitch is a good platform overall, but the fact that especially minorities, the fact that they are still being targeted on this platform is ridiculous, because they shouldn't be. There shouldn't be a reason or a need to attack these people just because they're different. It would make the platform 100 times better if they were able to even just try and help, because if we all know it's an issue, then they know it's an issue.
Definitely.
And it's definitely been one of the main reasons that I think a lot of small streamers have quit or not continued. It's because the hate is just, it can be a lot, and especially as a small streamer where you're trying to build your platform, getting hate comments doesn't really help. Other than the fact it adds an extra viewer, which I always joke about. I'm like, oh, well, thanks for the views. Like you went out your way to come into my stream thinking you were gonna get something, and then once they leave, I normally turn around and I'm like, hey guys, don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, don't be that person.
And I think one of the hardest parts of streaming is, like, I didn't stream for a week because I was on a little, like, mini hiatus. I didn't stream, and I was like, oh my gosh, are the people that watch me gonna be, like, mad at me that I haven't been streaming and, like, posting content? I just felt bad that I wasn't streaming, and I think just, like, a little bit of guilt.
Yeah.
I felt guilty. And I feel like streamers should be more open about what they're going through, because I think it would, like, show, like, that it's more accepting of a community. But I think just feeling guilty when I don't stream for a certain period of time, I just feel that immense guilt. Another worst part of streaming, how much stuff costs. It's not a cheap hobby. The best part of streaming for me would have to be the, like, friends I've made through streaming, because I'm like, oh good, we're all nerds.
Yes. Yeah. Being able to find people very easily that have the same interests as you.
It just sucks that, like, all of my friends are, like, scattered across the United States and or in a different country.
Yeah. Tough having long distance friends.
One thing that I think is one of the worst parts of streaming that I think a lot of people don't talk about is it can be really hard not to get jealous sometimes. I think a lot of us work very hard, and it can be demotivating to see other people maybe grow quicker than you have, or other people to not struggle with things as much as you do. And I think it can be difficult sometimes, and it's definitely a hard thing to try and not get jealous, because you also have to look at it as in, you don't know what's going on in these people's lives. They're probably working very hard to get to where they are. Definitely something that I think everyone experiences a little bit. It's not something I'm proud of. If I ever get jealous of another streamer's view count or their, like, streaming group or whatever, it's a difficult thing, but I think it's normal and natural. You can kind of deconstruct it and look at it and be like, okay, instead of being jealous of them, how can I take inspiration from them? I personally, my favorite thing is always the community. My community is my favorite thing in the world, and I do think that's pretty well talked about, but I think something that's not often talked about is how, although, like, your community is, like, these people online and they all have their own separate lives, when everyone joins together, it not only can help the viewers, but it can also help the streamers. Me personally, I will be frustrated or upset or something, but the second I get online and the second I start streaming, I let all other worries away, and I just focus on streaming and my community and having fun, and it can really brighten up my day. And I don't think that's really talked about as much. Like, obviously, streaming can be difficult sometimes. It's by no way an necessarily easy thing to do, but it can definitely be a release. Like, for me personally, it is such a positive thing in my life. It really does help, and it lifts my mood up, and it's helps motivate me more. The more I stream, the more I want to stream, kind of thing.
I think that the hardest thing is getting that to that starting point and trying to figure out what you want to do in general when you stream. Motivation is something you have to think about. How motivated can you be, and how much will you actually do it? Because I struggle with that sometimes. The good part, like the easiest things, is once you do have that connection with people, it's so easy to just want to be there with them and like join in on streams and like start that communication. Once you get used to it, you join those communities. Like, for example, Reaper SMP, like that was what really brings me into the like, oh my god, I love this so much.
The best part is sort of once you're there, you meet people and you realize how easy it is to stick with it.
Yeah, basically. You never realize how much people really care until you're there. And like you see how important it is to just be there with other people, and I feel like it connects you to a group of people you never would have been able to be with otherwise. It may be hard to start, but like as soon as you're there, it's just so good. I honestly, I don't get a lot of views on my streams, and I'm fine with that because I have the people who support me in the streamer community that will always be there. And I feel like the support is just something so important in the community. I trust a lot more people than I did before I started streaming. I will say do be cautious. Like try to learn who they are as a person before you jump full in. But most experiences I've had with streamers are just amazing. And it's not like since everything's been happening and so many old streamers are getting called out, I feel like people aren't realizing how good the community itself is, rather than, seeing the worst parts of it and just thinking about how bad it might be. I think it's fear of things turning out the bad way why more people aren't like going into it.
I'll start with the worst and then we'll move to the
Sure,
best.
go for it.
People will come into your chat and they will just say the most outrageously like inappropriate comments that I have ever seen. It's like virtual catcalling.
Yes.
Because they're not really expecting anything to come from it. They just want to share their strange opinions or something. I'm not really sure. But especially in the VTuber space, because I think when people don't see like a human face behind the avatar, it can be really easy for them to just like project onto this character, quote unquote, and not see them as real people. And that happens to content creators in general. But I think when you have like a virtual avatar instead of your face, a lot of people, it's a lot easier for them to separate you from that. It's really cool to be able to meet all kinds of different people while you're streaming, but the stress of having to, while you are live, if like all your mods happen to be AFK and someone comes in and says something strange, it's like that split-second decision making of, should I say something at all? Should I just block them? But then, sometimes when people say really either rude things or really inappropriate things, it can kind of like throw off your vibe. Even if chat doesn't really notice that something is up, your headspace can just go completely somewhere else, and you're like, hey guys, I gotta end actually. Like I can't keep going.
Yeah, that's something that's definitely hard in live streaming, because you don't have the time. If it's a comment on a YouTube video, on a TikTok, you can sit and be like, okay, what's the right way to handle this?
Yeah, I have seen some really interesting and clever ways that other streamers and other content creators have shut down strange comments that, like, anytime I see that stuff, I literally am taking notes. Like, I will literally sometimes write down verbatim something that I see somebody else say, because I'm like, that I would have never thought to say something like that. Being like a brown bisexual man, sometimes people get a little weird in my chat, and I'm fully okay with having to put my foot down. But I know that some people aren't, because if they are rejecting people, it can be really dangerous for them, because not everyone knows how to be normal or kind. I definitely think as I stream more, it becomes easier to know what to say. Little kinks that can be worked out, like, just the more you do it. There's always stuff that you didn't think about until it happens. So like,
Yes.
you know, most people when they go into streaming, they're not sitting there thinking about, okay, what is my script when I get rated? What is my style of like humor? What am I gonna do when there's like a strange person who comes into chat? You know, that's not necessarily something that you're always thinking about until it happens. You learn and you grow. And I like, God bless my chat, like all of the people who have been here through all of the rough times. It is so amazing to me when people stay and when they come back. That's probably one of the best parts of streaming, if we're gonna go into like the best parts. When people come back, when you see like names of people and then they become regulars and then, you know, maybe they become prominent members of your community, it is a feeling that I don't know how to describe to people who haven't experienced it. But it's like, wow, you like my content that much that you came to stream, you know, followed, and then you stayed and you came back, and I'm like, whoa. Like, whoa.
It's like the viewer ratio to follower ratio. You can have thousands of followers, but the number of them that are actually consistent viewers, that number means so much more, you know?
Oh yeah. There's also yearly like ebbs and flows in viewers. Like right before the summer, like now actually, a lot of my friends have been noticing a dip in viewership, and it's because it's like final season.
Yes.
It's graduation season. You know, people who have kids, like they're dealing with their children right now, like all of that kind of stuff. So there's usually a dip, and then in the summer it goes up, and then at the end of summer it goes back down. And it's just like one of those things that, like, if you are equating your worth to your numbers, then that can also be really difficult. But I think that recognizing that each of those numbers is an individual person that has chosen to spend their free time watching you, like, I think that can sort of balance out like that anxiety. One thing that I have had to remind myself is that people do not leave your streams typically because you said something that wasn't funny or you said something that they didn't like. People usually leave your streams because they're going to bed, they have homework to do, they have to go to work, they are gonna go make dinner, like just like normal everyday stuff. Because I always thought about it, I was like, well, when I leave people's streams, it's never because like, well, I mean sometimes, but most of 9 times out of 10, it is not because they said anything that made me go, oh, that's weird. It's usually because like I have to go to bed. I don't know why, but I know a lot of content creators are very like self-conscious or like really shy. Like in the native VTuber server, Kona and I keep like we're like, how do we get people to talk in here? And I'm like, Kona, everyone here has social anxiety. I don't know how to do this. And it's like, I don't think any of us do.
Yeah,
I'll be completely honest.
We're a bunch of VTubers. We don't talk to actual people.
Exactly. Why you think we're all VTubers?
Exactly. Yes.